All right, welcome to another video. Ryan Gorelick here, Director of Training for Grant Cardone Canada. Everyone's talking about what's the morning routine. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about what is your evening routine. And this is very, very important. So one thing that I see in a lot of companies, I used to do this, is that you have a hard day and then 5 o'clock hits and then boom, you just go right out of the office. And the problem with that, well, actually why that happens is you don't want to face your day. You're like, oh, that was too tough. Let me go home, have a couple beers and forget about it. And what happens is because you don't have an evening routine that sets up your next day, what happens is the next day also isn't that great. And then you have to go home again, and then you're like, more beers, and then it just gets into this cycle. And if you've ever had like a span of like a few weeks where you just feel like not motivated, you're not producing, you don't have that fire, this will actually solve that. So you want to have an evening routine in place where no matter how bad the day gets, you just want to force yourself, okay, my daily activity, like for example, at our company, every day at 4:10 to 5 p.m. we have a sales meeting. After 5 p.m., each salesperson can essentially do what they need to do. They could leave the office if they have something personal or if they just want to call it a day. What I do every day is 5 p.m. to 6 or 6:30. Usually 6:30 if there's a special circumstance, whatever. But in that time, I have that blocked off every single day that I'm doing my evening routine. I actually call it my before I'm leaving routine. And what you do to actually create that is you say, what are the key things that I actually need to like straight up just accomplish before I leave that will set up the next day. So, and then this is also something that Grant Cardone says, which is, if it wasn't a great day, make it a great day. You know, he says Elena, his wife, when he would come home, he'd be like, "Oh, it wasn't a great day." She's like, "What are you doing home? Get back in the office till you make it a great day, then come home." So this will help accomplish that. And also, one important thing is a lot of reps say, "Well, there's certain things I need to do," and we'll talk about that. You know, setting up your lists. You know, looking at your calendar, setting up the things that you need to do, your important action steps. Why can't I just do that the next day, at the start of the next day? And the reason for that is, if you go into work and it's 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. or whenever you start and you're like, I'm gonna set up my day from 8 to 8:15, I'm gonna set up my day. Every time that happens, guess what also happens? You get an email, you get pulled into a meeting, you get this person calling, and now all of a sudden you're in your day and all of a sudden it's 9 or 10 and you haven't set up your day and you're already a quarter way through it. So that does not work. Now, what I do, I'll just tell you some of the things that I do as a salesperson and as a sales executive, and you guys could take what you want and you'll see how to kind of come up with it on your own. What I do first step is I enter in my stats. So we graph all our stats. So I enter in my stats and I actually look at, hey, where are my graphs going? What do I need to adjust for tomorrow? What did I do well today? But what do I need to do better tomorrow? And then also, what do I need to do tonight? Like, what does my calendar look like tonight so that I could do the right things to set up tomorrow? The next thing I do is I put on some music. So I put on big headphones so that if there's any like office chatter or people are like, you know, we have very entertaining, funny people. If you've seen videos of Matthew Peggios, he's absolutely hilarious. And I love Matthew Peggios, but sometimes I need to be zoned in because he's saying a hilarious joke and it distracts me. So I put the music. The next step is I actually do what's called, I call this tomorrow recon. So I look at my calendar for tomorrow and I look at what are all my meetings. Who am I presenting my program to tomorrow? And I do recon. Recon is short for reconnaissance. Okay, reconnaissance is like a military term. You scope out night before an attack, you scope out the village. All right, that enemy's hiding in there. Okay, I see we need to go over that ridge, go through that gate, and make the attack. So it's an analogy, it's similar to sales. It's like, okay, I'm gonna look up people's website. What are their key clients? Do we have mutual connections? Who might be on the presentation? What do I need to know about them? I'm gonna look them up on LinkedIn. So I do my research, my recon before that meeting. The next step is very, very important. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, hit subscribe, hit the bell button, hit the like below. We appreciate you. Next step, what you want to do, okay? If you are a salesperson, this is very, very, very important. We've all had lists, we've all had CRMs, we don't always like it, but we need it, is you have a list where you have a bunch of people that you're gonna call tomorrow, and you're gonna go call, do what you need to do next. Call, next. Some calls might go to voicemail, some might result in something, but we all have a list. If you try and wait till tomorrow to see who you're gonna call, you're gonna be half as productive. You won't accomplish nearly as much as if, and this will be your goal, okay? Your goal is, I am going to set up my list in a way that tomorrow morning, when it's 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., whenever you start, I could just roll up to my computer and just hit click or dial, and boom, I've started my list. It's all set up. I know exactly who I'm calling, what time, what order, and it's all there for me. Like, I literally know all the things. And again, I've tried this. I'm a salesperson, okay? I've tried to sell myself on the idea that, oh, I really want to get out of here. I could just do that tomorrow. I'll set it up at the beginning. I'm telling you, it will be way more productive if you do it at night. And by the way, some of you are like, man, my work, it takes up a lot of my time and I gotta leave at 5 because I wanna go and enjoy life. It's not all about work. You stay another hour. If you could spend another half hour, hour and a half, whatever it is, to make the next day twice as productive, would you do that? No question, okay? And then basically I have tasks. So another important thing is throughout the day, I'll have tasks that come up that, like, I'm in the middle of calling, and I know that if I get into this task, it's gonna take up too much time. It's not gonna be relevant to what I'm trying to accomplish today, so I put it in my task to do later. So I'm gonna go through, I have this written down, it says musts to do. So what is in my to-do list that I can't put off till next week or the weekend or tomorrow, like, that I have to do? And then I have a note here that everything that I just said is mandatory before I leave. So like I said, this is before leaving, so I can't leave unless all these things are done. Now, below this line, I have another list that says optionals. So this is stuff like, okay, see who looked at my LinkedIn. Who could I call? I'm gonna do a bit of prospecting, right? Assuming this is before 6:30, and also, by the way, like, for those of you who do relate to what I'm saying about staying late, working hard, I've had the problem where if I don't set a limit for myself, like 6:30, I end up in the office till like 9 a.m. Then I go to bed way too late, then I'm tired the next day. Sometimes you have to, like, stop. Go to bed, like, make it, go into the next day. You don't need to be here till midnight. I've done that, but sometimes the advantages don't outweigh the downsides. That's just up to you to calculate. We start at 7 a.m. just to give you an idea. So usually it's like 7 a.m. till 6:30. Sometimes I go over, but that is important. So looking up people on social media, LinkedIn, also emails is one. So emails, I actually forgot to mention this, but I put that towards the bottom of the list. I don't put that at the top of the list. And also, I don't check my emails throughout the day. I would advise strongly for you guys to shut off your emails. Shut off, if you guys have notifications that slide over from the right-hand side and goes, ding, you received an email, that is the biggest productivity ruiner out of anything. You wanna turn off the notifications. Trust me, the president, the prime minister, the UN, like, no one's calling that it's so important that you can't block off an hour of time and get to it. There's no client that says, hey, I want to negotiate a $40,000 contract. And then you call them an hour later and they're like, you waited an hour. Sorry, we're not doing business anymore. It doesn't happen, okay? If you're constantly chasing, you're in the middle of something and now you start something else because you saw an email and you're like chasing, you're never gonna get ahead of your day. You're never gonna be in a position where you're in control. And that's a very important thing. So notice when you're doing this list, you wanna put it in a very specific order. When you build out this list of before leaving or evening activities, you want to make sure that it is in an order that makes sense, where the most important things get done first. Most likely, this would be good, the things that you hate to do, just get them out of the way. Do that first. Email is at the bottom of the list, because email is stuff that I'm not controlling. It doesn't really have to do a lot with setting up my day tomorrow to crush it. It more has to do with like, this is a thing that I gotta do. I gotta deal with this, deal with that. Okay, this person sent me this, fine. And then I might put other to-dos. So those are like the optionals. The email, again, I forgot that's in the upper list, but if it's 5:45 and I still got time, I'm gonna start going through the optionals. And that's pretty much it. It'll be different depending on your industry, your job, what you do, but I highly encourage you, put a time block in your calendar before leaving and put a specific order. And one of the biggest things, as a final note, the biggest thing that this did for me is, before I did this, every evening when the clock would hit 5, I would literally just make up what I was doing. I totally improvised it. If you're just gonna shoot from the hip and make stuff up, and you're always gonna do stuff in a different order and you don't really quite know what you're doing, you could kind of just wander and you just stay too long and you end up wasting a bunch of time, get sucked into like random conversations with colleagues that don't actually contribute to your productivity. You don't know what are the things to do, and it's not as efficient. If you know, okay, I do this, I do this, I do this, it builds momentum, and you start to actually build in this habit every single day, similar to a morning routine, that helps you clean up your day, set up tomorrow. So do that, build out your list, comment your key things that, if you're already doing this or you've decided to do this, that you want to do, put that in the comments below. I'd be curious to see what you do. And then reach out to us at Cardone Canada, any social media, myself, Ryan Gorelick. If there's anything that we can do for you, let us know. Hope this was helpful. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much.